Hello everyone, happy Sunday. You're watching another episode of Blank Canvas, and today's artist is Dominique Davenport. Say hello, Dominique.
Hi.
Dominique's working on a portrait today, but we'll hold off right now on what this portrait is, who it's of, and what she's working with. And for now, just let us know where you're watching from today. So we've got Celeste saying hi from Wyoming.
Hello, Wyoming.
And we've got Beth saying hello from Oakland, California.
Ooh.
Says, ooh, I already like the color.
Yeah, it's good to hear. I try to just work with neon paint, so I work pretty much with just a bright yellow, a bright blue, a bright red, and a hot pink, and then white just to like mix in the tone. So I keep it really simple. It makes it easy for me, but it's also it's like a challenge, you know? You just kind of see what colors you can make.
I like that. We have Dawn saying hi from Virginia.
Hello, Virginia.
And Barbara saying hi from West Virginia. And we have Agnes says that she's watching from Indonesia.
Wow.
Yes.
And what time is it there?
Yes, Agnes, let us know what time is it right now in Indonesia. We're glad that you're watching. So if it's late, don't go to sleep until after the show's done. We have Jacqueline saying hi from Illinois.
Ooh, Illinois. Where's all these times? What time is it everywhere else?
Oh, Lulu is back. Lulu, you literally watch every Blank Canvas show. I love it. So to everyone who's returning, thank you for returning and watching Blank Canvas every weekend. And everyone who's brand new, thank you for tuning in. And make sure that you're sending the artist questions about what she's working on and what she has worked on. Her Instagram page will pop up periodically throughout the show, so you can follow her on Instagram and check out the rest of her work. And just say hello, show some love. I see some hearts and thumbs up already coming through for Dominique.
Yay.
Barbara says, looking good, and hello from Rochester, New York.
Hello.
Do we have any artists watching today? If yes, what medium do you use? What do you like to paint, draw, sketch? What do you got going on? Oh, Agnes says it's nighttime there.
Nighttime.
Yes, in Indonesia right now.
And
we're glad that you're watching.
Pretty early here.
Yeah.
Noon.
Becky says hi from Tennessee, and it's 1 o'clock here. So Dominique, can you talk to us today about what you're working on and why you're using the colors that you're using and what medium you're working with as well?
So right now I'm working with acrylic paints. It dries pretty quickly, so I can just do as much as I can. I can layer as much as I want to. I usually just love doing portraits of women. It's kind of one of my favorite things to do. So I'm really loosely basing this off of one of my friends, but very loose. Sometimes I'm like really tight with it, but you know, when it's like moments like these, it doesn't really matter. I just want it to like look pretty cool and just have something, you know, have a lot flowing with it. It's kind of fun to watch. Just make this engaging, you know?
And what about the colors? You mentioned the colors that you like to use.
So I love using neon colors because it, you know, has like a second life. It works under black light, and all of a sudden it just looks like a completely different painting under black light.
Oh, I
so
love
I just
that.
work with the same 4 colors, which is usually a yellow, a blue, a red, and a pink, and then white just to like, you know, do portraits that you get the light tones in between. So I usually start with all the dark tones in the images, and then I start going lighter as I work along.
And I know you mentioned this is a friend. Are you working from a reference photo?
Yeah, so I'm working from a photo of a friend, but it's very loose because I'm not really going exactly by the image. I'm just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna have fun. Just need a couple features. Need some, you know, for nose or for mouth or something.
We have Kimberly who says, Kim, excuse me, who says you have a great eye.
Thanks.
And Jill wants to know, how long have you been painting?
I've been painting ever since I was a child. I mean, I went to art high school, I went to college for art. I went to Art and Design High School, went to FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology for college. And now, you know, you just keep on going, just continued after that.
We have someone in the audience saying hello from Bulgaria.
Wow. That's cool.
And Jill says pink is my favorite color. So, Jill, I'm assuming
great to hear.
you're loving what Dominique's doing today, what she's working with. Jody says she loves to paint and sketch.
Nice. What does Jody like to do? What does she specifically work on, does she say?
Yeah, Jody, let us know. What exactly do you like? I know you like working, painting and sketching, but is there anything specific? Do you like landscapes, still life, portraits, animals? Megan has a good question. She says, what feelings pop up when you paint?
Oh, I don't know. It's actually, my brain actually just goes blank. I think that's when I know that I'm feeling it. You know, I'm really enjoying what I'm doing, because it's usually in the beginning where I'm a little freaking out. I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know. And then as it happens, I'm like, okay, just going with it. Just going with it. So I don't know, just nothingness, which is a good thing, because my brain's not clouded.
We have Kathy saying hello from Tennessee.
Hello, Kathy.
And Joseph saying good afternoon. Andrea says, I can't draw stick figures, but I do beadwork.
That's good. That's cool. It takes time to do beadwork. You have to have patience, so that's a great skill to have.
And she said she's watching from Idaho. Oh, Kimberly Casper is back in the house. Hey, Kimberly. She says, hey, hey. She's one of our regulars. Jenny says, love the bright colors.
Great.
And Lulu says, it looks like it's popping off the page.
Nice.
I like that.
So it was good. Good feedback.
Oh, Mark says he does paint, but drawing is his favorite, and he does a lot of outdoor scenes.
That's always cool. Actually, I love doing portraits the most, but I always like a good challenge, because I do commissions for people, and some people were just like, this is exactly what I want. Can you do it? And I'm like, all right, we're gonna do this. So that's when I challenge myself to do things other than portraits.
Okay. Jasmine says, how do you do this? What is the first step if someone wishes to learn to paint?
To learn, I feel like it's usually pretty good, if at least with portraits, is understanding proportions on the face. I usually, if you came and tuned in originally, I kind of just map out everything. I kind of just do a big circle, and then I start kind of just adding the jaw, and then I start with doing the darks to put in the cheekbone and some of the areas on the side of their face. I think that's always good to start, and then you start working in with the lighter colors in between, which is the highlights of the forehead. The cheeks are usually pretty light, the nose is light, the chin and the other part of the cheek is usually the lightest. So I usually get that in. I try to block it in as fast as possible.
And you said you're working with acrylic?
Acrylic, yep.
Got it. We have Manny who says, love this, from South Africa.
Ooh, South
Yes.
Africa. That's awesome. We get everyone from everywhere.
Yeah, Susan said, I can't draw a straight line. Susan, I don't believe you. I know that you can. I have faith. Jody said, I like your art style.
Thank you. I appreciate it a lot.
Oh, Naomi has something really nice to say. Hello from a nursing home in Texas. I'm 82 and you're helping me pass the time in a wonderful way by the hour. Thank you, and God bless you abundantly.
Oh, thank you so much. It's so cute.
Naomi, we're so glad that you're watching. We're so glad that everyone's tuning in today.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. We've got Ohio in the house. We have New Jersey. We have North Carolina. Guys, keep them coming. Let us know where you're watching from today. If you're an artist, or what type of art do you like, and if you have any artists that have inspired you. So I guess that's a good question to ask Dominique today, who's our artist on Blank Canvas. Do you have any artists that have inspired you throughout the years?
There's just really different kind of artists all around. I kind of look at all kind of art, but for portraits, ever since I was a child, I've always loved Chuck Close.
Okay.
I mean, they were just huge portraits. They were photo real, all in acrylic. You know, it was just so exciting to see such a thing. I remember just seeing him on like News 1 like years ago. And then I was like, wow, that's so cool. I want to do that, you know? I think it was like immediately, I was like, wow, how can he do that? How can I do the same thing? It was kind of one of those things. And then throughout the years, I just looked at other artists, even people who were like within my peer group, and you know, you get inspiration everywhere. And that's where I kind of look towards, just look at inspiration. So I'm like, that's cool. How can I like do something like that, but my own way?
We have Diana saying hello and lovely work from Canada.
Thank you.
And we have Eden here who says, hello from Alabama. I love the vibrant colors you're using. I joined a group recently where we paint pictures on the rock and hide them for others to find. I suffer from high anxiety and I found painting has helped me extremely. Art is life. True. Do you feel that when you're whether it's like happiness or you're just going through any type of emotion, like painting helps you?
Painting always helps. I mean, it's like, again, like I've said it earlier, but it's like the one thing that you could just do. There's no like real judgment. I mean, because art is so subjective. So even if you know, many artists are usually pretty critical of their work, and they're like, oh, I don't know, I don't like the way this looks. At the end of the day, there's always going to be someone that likes your work. It's like, so it makes you a little less self-conscious, a little more like open to the fact that, you know, maybe you didn't like this piece that you did, but someone else thought it was great, and it changed how they felt about something. And I don't know, that's what's awesome about art. So
that leads me to a few questions that based on what you just said. So can you name a piece that was your favorite? Name a piece that was not your favorite. Ooh. And have you ever started a piece and you just couldn't even bring yourself to finish it? Okay, so that happens often where you start a piece and you're like, oh, I love this, and then midway you're like, oh, I don't know about this. Sometimes, so I do live painting, so just like this, and usually like as I'm working on it, I'm kind of not happy with it. I'm like, oh god, it's a little much. But it's usually at the end. It'll be sometimes months later where I'll decide to get back into it. I try not to quit a piece. If I quit it completely, I'll just, you know, rework the canvas, maybe, you know, paint over it. But it's actually pretty rare that I do that. I try to like finish what I start for the most part. So if that answers some of your questions. No, it does, definitely.
I try not to quit. At least that's the only thing that I can say with art is like, okay, I don't want to quit this. With other things, I'm like, okay, I don't want to do it and I'll stop. But with painting, I'm like, okay, you could always go back into it, do something different, and just eventually figure it out. Just not at the same moment, maybe months later.
Well, Jay from Ohio says he's an artist, and like all art, he has to say that you have great work and he loves it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So nice.
Carol says, hello from Parlier, California. Wish I could draw and paint.
You could.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Take
Everyone can.
Classes. Like there's this funny saying, I don't remember, but it's like the artist is a child that never stopped the creative process, sort of thing, you know? It's just, you just have to find it. You have to figure out what it is, whether it's like abstract work or portraits or just landscapes. You just have to find your thing.
Yeah.
Whatever is calming and relaxing for you.
Totally agree. So for everyone who's just tuning in now, our artist today is Dominique Davenport, and she's working on a portrait today, and she's using acrylic paint. And for everyone who may have missed it, maybe you can talk a little bit about what's inspiring you with this portrait, if it's from mind, if it's from reference,
so
why the colors?
It's pretty loose. It's not. I'm using like a photo of my friend, but very loosely. I just really like just knowing the proportions of a face, and then I can just move on from there. Nothing too crazy. No serious, real reference.
We have Linda that says, love your painting, saying hi from El Salvador.
Ooh, awesome.
Well, we have a few people asking a specific question. What is your favorite tool to paint with, and what brush are you using?
I try to like do as much as I can with one brush. It really depends. When I'm doing live paintings, I do like using a round brush, but a little more stiff, a little bristle. And then I go back into with filberts. Filberts are like my favorite size brush. It's usually like a little smooth on the edge. It's a pretty good brush to work with. I use filberts. I use all kind of filberts. So like in all different sizes, you know. I just try to work with it. And then I usually go in with like a smaller brush to get in like more of the details, which I'll do, you'll see eventually.
We have Heather saying hello from Toledo, Ohio.
Hi.
I have been into art my whole life.
Okay.
I use oil, pencil, drawing, animation, all of the above is my medium. And she says, great job.
Thank you. Yeah, mediums are cool. You just have to really figure out what works for you. I used to paint in oil all the time. I loved it. But as I got older, I realized I'm a little bit more impatient, so acrylic is something that really...
It takes longer to dry, oil
Yes.
does?
It takes like 7 days to dry. And
Oh, wow.
Yeah, sometimes you don't have that time to work on a piece. Whether if you're doing a commission for someone or, you know, whatever. You don't have the time sometimes to like let a piece dry and then go back into it.
Oh, we have Chris Strun saying Iceland over here.
Wow.
Happened upon this, and this is really helping me relax, which I sort of need from the stress of today. Thank you for that.
Oh, that's so good to hear.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Jason wanted to know, are you thinking or were you just palette blending? I think you might have stopped or something.
So it's a bit of everything. It's like whatever's coming to me. I'm like, heart glasses seem cool.
I like that.
You just gotta, at least for me, I'm like, improv all the way. You can do this. It's a good challenge.
Mary says, this is definitely out of the box and I can't quit watching.
Oh,
But we're glad
cool.
you can't quit watching.
Don't quit.
Don't go. We have Barbara saying, amazing to watch the progress. Watching from Pennsylvania. Cannot paint, but I do cross stitch. Love starting from a blank piece of fabric and watching the project come together.
True, very true. I like starting blank. Some people actually like working on a color surface. I don't know, something about it being blank is just like, okay, all right, what can you do? It's a little freeing.
Donald has a good question. Donald from Indian Trail, North Carolina says, do you ever find that you've gone too far with a painting? Maybe less is more?
Yep, all the time. I mean, that happens sometimes. At this point, I kind of like do a little less and I step back and I'm like, I don't know, I think I like this. And then I'll always usually ask my friends, because all my friends are all creative and they all like either paint or just like are all like art related. And I always ask them like their opinion. And I always get something very different. Some people are like, this is great. And then some of my friends are like, I don't know. Like, it's cool to have people that are just as critical about your work as you are.
Yeah. Well, we have Cassie saying, my favorite color is pink. Pink, pink, pink.
Yes.
So I'm assuming she's feeling what you're doing. And Brittany says, my favorite color is baby blue.
Nice.
So, and Elizabeth says, I'm enjoying watching this portrait come together.
Yeah, that's good to know. So now we're gonna actually work with like a smaller brush. Let's see if I find a good one to work with. Okay, so this is always like a kind of a go-to. This is another round, but it's like on a smaller scale. So I usually start now doing details.
Cassie said, you should paint Kanye one day.
Okay. It's a good tip.
So for anyone who's just tuning in, Dominique Davenport is our artist today on Blank Canvas, and I completely forgot to do something that I usually do at the beginning of the show. People usually wonder who's the voice behind the camera. My name's Erica, and I'm the producer of Blank Canvas. So I'm the one who's talking and asking you to send in your comments and your questions. Oh, and make sure that you guys are, if you're on Instagram, you're following Dominique on Instagram. Her page will pop up periodically throughout the show. So check, and you can check out the rest of her work as well. And if there's something you want to commission her for, go ahead and do it. Kimberly says, I love watching people paint.
That's cool.
And Brandy says, the hard glasses are cool, definitely fitting with the colors you've chosen.
Yay. That's always good. Some public reassurance.
Gladys says she's just started to paint. Is it okay if she uses a can? No, she said, I just started to paint. Can I use paint on canvas? You're gonna have to reword that one, Gladys.
Honestly, with art, you can literally do anything.
I just want to make sure we got the right question for her, so we can answer it properly. Oh, can I use a can of paint?
How so?
Yeah, so it's a can of
how?
paint. So yeah, maybe reword that or send it a little more in detail. We want to make sure we answer this for you.
Literally, I have a friend that will be out, will be at a restaurant, and he'll start like drawing with ketchup. So if you're asking if you're allowed to use something specific, you can use
she
anything.
says how to use the same colors on canvas.
How so? How to use the same colors?
Well, maybe it's because like you're using like different shades of paint and stuff.
So I keep my palette pretty limited. I said that from the beginning. For those who are now tuning in, I just use like the primary colors, but they're all neon, so they all have like a second life. Under black light, it'll just like glow. So I'll use a hot pink. I'll use a red, a blue, a yellow, and then white. White's always good. You know, you can get your different skin tones with white. So I don't know. Doing that is fun. It challenges me. Because I'm forced to use the similar colors, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, how can I make this painting look different from my last painting, but also similar? Because you know, you need a style, you need something that shows this is who you are as an artist, and you know, from by now, like people usually know that I work with like neon colors who are familiar with my work. So it's just like it's fun, and I love neon colors. Like I think it's just a personality thing, just being just so outgoing and out there. But yeah, so this is like the color palette I choose. Other people would choose something totally different.
Well, we have Corey who says Dom, which obviously for Dominique, everyone,
cool.
Is amazing.
Thank you.
Kelly says very retro.
Yeah.
Hong says, next time, could you draw a flower?
Okay.
So
Okay.
I guess that means that we're inviting Dominique back so that Dominique can work on a flower maybe next time.
Let's do that. We can do that.
Yeah.
We can make that happen.
Leanne wants to know, how do you figure out what to do and the way you're going to go with your painting, which way you're going to go with it?
For me, honestly, I just kind of let it happen. When it's things like this, I let it happen. Sometimes, I mean, for my own personal work, I'll plan out a little bit, but I still give myself the opportunity to like have some fun. There's nothing like more boring for me than knowing exactly what I'm gonna do, when I'm gonna do it, how I'm gonna do it. So I like it a little open-ended.
Gracie says, you make it look very easy, fascinating to see it change and develop.
Thank you. That's good. It's good.
And Michelle says, you know someone is good at something when they make it look so easy, and you make it look very easy.
Aww,
you are great.
Thank you. That's sweet.
Oh, I like that you just started adding that blue in.
Yeah, I don't know, just going with it, like I said.
Maria from Arizona has a good question.
Yeah.
She says, I paint but have lost my creativity. What do you do to help you get back in the mood to paint?
You have to keep painting. I know it sounds crazy, but I also lose my creativity, and everyone that knows me knows that I start like freaking out. I'm like, I don't know, I don't think I can do this anymore. So I just started doing more abstract work just for fun, for myself, because I'm always like very literal, very portrait. But to get myself moving, I started doing more abstract work for fun, and it's really helped me. It started like getting me to like paint at all times. So just start something that's like that you don't have to commit to. You're just having fun with, and usually that's like the best thing for me to get me back into what I'm doing.
Well, Cassie says, I can't paint, but I write poems.
Okay.
That's still creativity right there. Yeah.
Are good.
Megan said, I've painted with coffee.
Wow.
That's
I've never
different.
done that. I've never done that, but that's cool that you could do that.
Maria said, I missed the beginning. What did you start with first, light colors or dark colors?
I started with the hot pink. I like getting in the whole shapes with a darker color, and then I go back in with a lighter color. So I get back in with like mixing white with the color that I originally started with.
Oh, Shelly says, when I paint, I start with a blank palette and I just start painting. I never plan, I just start. If I plan, it never works out.
That happens. That so happens. I'm like in the middle. Like I'll plan a little bit, but I kind of just let it go. There's only so much you can control.
Dua says, how can you be so patient? Lots of love.
Whoa. I don't know. This is probably the only thing I'm patient at. Otherwise, I'm usually like, what's next? What's next? I think that's a part of being from the city too. You're always on the go, always trying to figure out what's next, who you're meeting, where's your friends, you know?
Yeah.
So this is the one time that doesn't matter.
Well, Anna Nang from Singapore says, I love it. How do you go about choosing your color combination?
So I've said a couple times already, I use the same colors for all my pieces of work. I use about 4 different colors, and I just keep mixing them to get different variations of the colors. So again, I use a hot red, like a super bright red, a neon yellow, a neon blue, a neon pink, and I just keep mixing them until I get different colors.
Got it. Macy says, this reminds me of that guy that used to paint on TV. Macy, you're thinking about Bob Ross. And we love Bob Ross
some
here.
happy trees.
Yay, paint some trees and some birds. Yeah, let us know in the comments, guys. Have any of you, do you remember Bob Ross and watching him on TV? Did you learn anything from Bob Ross? I think we all kind of did.
Yeah. He's like, happy trees.
Yes.
You remember him humming?
Maria said, do you ever get stuck painting one item? Like for instance, let's say you were painting a tree. So is there any particular thing that sometimes you get stuck on?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel that way now. I'm a little like, okay, so where am I going, you know? But you just gotta work around. So that's why I actually started getting the background in, because I'm like, okay, I don't really know what's going on, but you know, you just move around. I like moving around throughout the whole thing, so I could just start seeing it come together faster, so then I feel a little less tense about what I'm doing.
Zabeth said, my grandpa and my mother used to paint a lot.
Yeah.
I've never been good at it and gave up watching, but you painting makes me want to try again.
Do it. Go get some supplies. Try it out. Like, it's getting warmer out. I don't know where you live. Where does he live? Does he live? Doesn't matter. It's probably getting warmer out. I'm sure it's summer everywhere. Yeah, just try things out. Go outside. Try to paint. Try to draw at least. Get a sketchbook, some pencils, pens.
Lorna wants to know, how long will this painting take you to finish?
I don't know. It really depends. I mean, for the most part, like when I'm doing serious portraits for people, it usually takes me a good 8 hours to do one portrait. And I could do it all in one sitting, but I usually like to do it in 2 because you come back with fresh eyes.
Oh, you wanted to know where Zabeth was
Yeah.
watching from? Montreal.
Montreal, okay.
Yes.
So yeah, it does get warmer.
Heather's saying hi from New York.
Hello.
Oh, it's Heather Engvik. I haven't seen you in a while on here. Where have you been? Oh, Justin says, when I paint, I prefer to do larger size paintings. What do you prefer?
As of right now, I actually work pretty small, like something like this. The most I usually go up to is like 30 by 40. But I want that to change. I also want to push myself to work larger. And usually when working larger, you just have to use bigger brushes. So I just got to get bigger brushes. That was like the secret I've heard from some, you know, from people that work larger. They're like, it's doing the same exact thing. You just got to work with bigger brushes.
Marie wants to know, well, she said you should have a painting show. So I guess this comes up. Would you ever do this, you know, or teach classes, or have you, or?
Yeah, I taught once for elementary school, like 8-year-olds for after school, which was fun. It was pretty cool, but it was just so different because, you know, on top of you just painting, you have to like worry about younger students. So I don't know. I mean, I thought it was cool. People were like, you're normal at this. I'm like, oh wow, really? You know, I mean, I never really thought about it before until I started doing it, and I was like, okay, maybe I can do that. But as of right now, you know, it doesn't really. It's not something that I'm like, yeah, I think I want to teach this. But I mean, from the feedback, it's always nice. You never know what you really enjoy doing until other people are like, you're good at this. I mean, at least for me.
So for Dominique, so for anyone who's just tuning in or may have missed it before,
Yep.
how did you get into painting? Is this something that's like God-given talent, went to school, both?
It's both. Because I mean, I've been drawing since I was little, but my dad actually used to draw. He doesn't really draw much now, but he used to draw and I used to like watch what he did. So I would always like kind of try to copy it, and I would copy from cartoons, and then I just continued doing that. And I remember like being in elementary school, doing that, and I remember doing a book report, and I had to do a cover for the book report, and I did a cartoon character in front, and my teacher nor like my friends believed that I did it. So I think that was one of those moments where I was like, wow, this is cool. But at the time I was younger, so I was actually disappointed. I'm like, why doesn't no one believe that I did this? You know, and then from there I just kept drawing. I just kept doing it. And then I realized when I was in middle school that I wanted to pursue art, and I went to an art high school and then continued to art college. And I graduated from college, and now I'm just pursuing art, you know, on my own.
And are you, at this moment, are you in any like exhibits or events that are coming up in New York City that people could possibly see your work?
I'm actually having a solo, just pop-up one-day event on June 12th at the Wren, which is in New York City. It's a restaurant. I'll be there, and I'll be showcasing a couple of paintings. So yeah, that's a perfect place for you to come check out.
Very cool.
You get to see like my work up front. You get to like interact. You get to meet other artists, other people, because I mean, a lot of friends that I do have are artists, and so it'll be a fun event.
And if you haven't already, will you be promoting this on your Instagram page?
Yes, I do.
Right.
I already have one post about it, and I'll continue as the days get closer.
Okay. So for anyone who's watching, we have Dominique Davenport. She's our artist today on Blank Canvas, and you can follow her on Instagram. Check out the rest of her work. If you want to DM her about any of the work or commission her for a painting or to find out more about the event on June 12th, make sure that you do that. Oh, Haz says, I love to paint on old saw blades.
Okay,
The
wow.
edges add to the drama of the painting.
Nice.
So outside of the canvas, what else have you painted on?
I've literally only just painted canvas, and I think now it's when I'm like, maybe I should look into other things. But as a, you know, for now, I love canvas. I actually like the texture of canvas. I love the bounce as you're working on it. I painted just on like board, like, you know, wood board, but that's the most exciting, I think, thing. I mean, and like bags and jackets, but that I don't do that as much, as often.
We have Nicole saying, I love painting, but I never have the time.
Okay.
Do you have any advice on how to incorporate it into a busy schedule?
The thing is, it's just about dedication and dedicating some time to it whenever you do have time. I mean, I'm from New York City, so there's so much time commuting. I think that's always a good way to incorporate drawing or painting. Well, not really painting, but drawing. You could always just sit on the subway for a little bit and then just draw on your way to whatever work, school, anywhere you're going. Sitting in the park sometimes. You know, you just have to like figure out if there's like times maybe you'll be watching TV. You could just I barely watch TV. I watch TV probably, I don't know, 3 hours a week, if anything, and it'll just be, you know, pre-recorded stuff. So it's like I do dedicate a lot of time, or like my extra time, on trying to like incorporate painting or drawing. So it's just dedicating the time is like really my suggestion.
Yes, we had a conversation before we went live saying you make time for the things you love and really want to do.
Very true.
And I don't think it's anything that, I think some people think that if they start something, that to finish it that day or I mean, just start off little by little, especially if you want to get back into it, or you want to just, this is like your first time. So, and would you say that maybe acrylic would be a really good paint to start off with? For beginners?
Yeah, I would say acrylic is actually probably one of the first things people start with. At FIT, they were really big at acrylic, you know, going to Fashion Institute of Technology in college. They're very big because I went for illustration, and it's very like commercial art based. And they're like, you know, when you need a fast turnaround time, you use acrylic because you can get the piece done. You could take it, you know, at the time, like for, you know, if you're doing it for clients, you could finish the piece, get it to them the same day, same time, you know. You never have that issue. With oil, you know, you have to let it dry a week, and that's tricky if, like, you know, you're doing work for deadlines. Which for me, like, I do portraits for people, and I have to do a portrait for the end of this month for someone, and she's already asking me, like, is this gonna be dry on time? Like, yes. I use acrylic, it's gonna be dry, you're gonna be able to take it on the plane, you're gonna be set. It's gonna be totally fine. So that's a reason why I use it. You need to make sure, at least for me, I need to make sure that my work's always dry for people to have.
So once the piece is done, do you spray it down with anything to make sure that it doesn't get messed up? Because a lot of people, they come on the show and they say, oh, I prime this, or after I'm done, I add something special to it.
I usually don't. For the most part, I don't, but I actually started to use resin, which is a fun medium to work with. It's just like a clear plastic layer for the most part. It's like plastic, and it's super shiny, super glossy, so I started doing that to my work, and like, I feel like it's just taking it to a different level. It's so nice to look at. It's cool. So, I mean, resin's something that people often use. Or they use varnishes, which I have varnish, but I still haven't used it. But yeah, people do like, you know, putting a coat on the end. But my paintings, I mean, just in general, acrylic lasts. My work hasn't like turned yellow with the sun. I'm pretty sure there's like acid-free binding in it or so. You know, I'm not sure about all that with all those logistics, but you know, for the most part, I'm pretty sure that it's created to withstand light and stuff like that.
We have Alton, who wants to know, how many paintings can you draw in a day? Have you ever tried that?
It really depends. I mean, I could work pretty quick. Usually, like if there's like a model in front of me, I'm usually like super fast. I'm like, get it down. I could do like a quick drawing of someone usually in like 15 minutes. But since I'm making this a painting, I'm like focusing more on the details and trying to like work from big to tight. You know, from like a large mass area to getting it a little tighter. But when you do go to art school, that's usually like kind of what they start you with. They're starting you with like doing 15-minute drawings of like a model. And like that challenges you so much. You learn how to work a little faster than you've ever done.
We have Heather who says, very nice.
Thank you.
And Judy says, I paint freehand, flowers and on rocks. When I paint, I just lose myself in it. I'm unaware of anything around me.
Very true. I can relate.
And Jenny says, this reminds me of sunbathing.
Wow.
And Jennifer says, just saw her art on Instagram, amazing, and she sends you some hearts.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I agree, her art is really amazing. And there's actually one on there that I really like called Label Slave.
Yeah.
The shoes, yeah, that's one of my favorite on your page.
Thank you. So at this point, I'm just trying to like blend, not to have like harsher lines, start kind of softening all of the lights and the darks. Just soften it with like a middle tone. So I'll do like the super bright, like the highlights, which is like the nose, the cheek, and then then I'll do the middle tone, which is like the color in between of like the super bright and the super dark.
you have a painting on your Instagram page, and it's with a little kid, and he's holding his painting.
Yes.
So was it like the parent commissioned you to do that, or?
Yeah. So the parent's actually my boss. My boss was just like, "Wow, I love your painting. Like, can you do this?" He was he's like challenging me. He was like, "Do you think you could do this painting of one of my kids?" I'm like, "Yeah, for sure." He's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yes." And then I did it, and he was like amazed by it. So then he's like, "Okay, now you got to do my daughter." I'm like, "Okay, sounds good." People challenge you, and it's always fun, but it's a good challenge. It's never in a malicious intent. But I love that though.
So we have a few questions coming up for people who are looking at your Instagram page and even looking at that particular photo or painting, excuse me. They want to know, what are your price ranges for if they wanted to commission you for a portrait?
Okay, so with portraits, I usually start at like the smallest size, which I would say 12 by 12, and I usually start at $150, but that's just for head and shoulders. After that, the price changes versus, based on the amount of time I know I'm going to take on it, amount of people, length of the body if you wanted a fuller length person. So yeah, I mean, you could just contact me and then we can talk about those sort of things. But yeah, so you get an idea. I usually start at $150 for 12 by 12 canvas.
And do you usually stay within, well, I guess it depends on what the person asks you for, but I'm pretty sure some people want the portrait to look exactly like the reference photo, but then other people might say, maybe how you're doing today. You have a reference photo, but you're saying you're kind of going a little bit out of the realm with it.
Most people want it exactly like the photo, which that's fine. I would actually usually draw it out in pencil. Right now, since I'm improvising, I'm doing this right here, right now. I didn't draw this out first. But when it's people's portraits, I'm very like, okay, this needs to be exact. I'll usually focus on the pencil drawing for a good hour before I even get into painting, because I can erase, I can go back and forth. It's just a little looser of a medium where I can adjust more than I could with paint.
So for everyone in the comments who's asking, Dominique is using acrylic paint today. Nicole wants to know, have you ever painted an animal portrait?
I have. I just don't do it as often since people usually don't ask for them, and I usually just like doing portraits of people, but I can totally do animals as well.
Do you feel like one is harder than the other?
I feel like animals are actually a little bit harder because most people think like all animals kind of look the same, but I'm very sensitive to that. I'm like, no, they look so different. So you have to be really, I think, a lot more sensitive with animals, because you don't want it to just look like a generic dog or generic horse. Like, it has to look like that person's dog, that person's, cat.
I feel like a lot of artists that get that question, they say the same thing as you. They're like, I can paint a person, portrait of a person, a lot easier than an animal, because they say the same thing. Not all animals, even if it's like the same breed, it could be the same
so different.
breed, but they look different. Yeah.
I'm like obsessed with golden retrievers. This is like one of these funny things that all my friends know. I'm obsessed, and I'm like, I love this dog. Like, this dog's personality is a little different. Their nose is different. Their eyes are a little, this one's apart than the other one. And, you have to just be sensitive about that. The same way with portraits. Like, everyone's nose is so different. Everyone's eyes are. But, with animals, it's just like a little different because they all look like they could be the same. It's just fur, With people, it's like different skin tones, different textures of their skin, or different shapes of their lips, their nose. I don't know, it's just a little bit different.
Mary wants to know the bright pink that you've used. What's the color? So maybe they're asking the brand or the color name.
Is it cool to talk about brands? No?
You can mention it quickly, yeah.
So this is golden. I actually like golden because since I do work in neon paint, golden's pigment quality is very strong. So I really love golden. Yeah, so usually if I work in a different brand and I work with other brands, neon colors, fluorescent, as it's written on here, they thin out too easily and it just gets super watery. But this stays pretty intact and pretty like thick. I think the quality is very thick and I love it.
And does that pink have a certain name to it? Not
this
the brand,
one is
but
fluorescent magenta.
Okay.
I also use fluorescent blue, fluorescent red, and fluorescent chartreuse.
Mary, hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, it's like the hottest pink you can get, which I love.
Trinity wants to know, do you like to paint the object or the background first?
I would do the object first. Sometimes I'll do the background first, but it's very seldom that I do that. I like really just like knowing where the portrait's going, and then I'll like kind of work from there.
Well, for everyone who tuned in today or is just tuning in, our artist for today is Dominique Davenport, and you've done a really great job today on Blank Canvas. We are unfortunately out of time.
Oh wow, that was so fast.
Yes, I know, 45 minutes flies. But you've done such an awesome job. I'll ask you on air because then you can't say no.
Yeah.
You're coming back, right, in a few weeks?
Yes, for sure.
That's what I like to hear.
And then I'll give you an update on this because I'll continue to work on it so that
and make sure you post it on your Instagram.
Yes.
So everyone, you can follow Dominique on Instagram. You can check out the rest of her work, show her some love, commission her for a painting. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Whether it was you come here, you come on every weekend, or this is your first time, we really appreciate it. We always love the comments, the questions. Blank Canvas comes on every Saturday and Sunday. Saturdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, Sundays at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you want to see past episodes of Blank Canvas, you can go to LittleThings.com/live, and in the drop-down box, you can click Blank Canvas. So everyone, happy Sunday. Have a great Memorial Day weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Thank
Bye.
you for watching.